a contract to construct this road or this school, then they should disclaim it. So they should know that governors and the rest, they have their duty. It is different from this. So we should not mix it. If you're ready to mix it, you should give facts and proof to distinguish that. To go further, I still want to make this very clear also for our viewers to listen. When our councils are being given 15%, that comes from the states and it is shared among all these councils. It is true. Landed barrister here will say 15%, and when you share it among council, it will be about 1 point something. What would they do? But it does not come out plain to tell the Cameroonian people that a part of that money that comes from the central government, these councils, they also collect taxes that goes with the various economic activities that they do. For instance, when we say bite, they give 200 francs to the council, it is not among that 1 point something percent that landed barrister is talking about. So we should be honest. We should not come and lie to Cameroonians and give them the impression that council work only with the 15% that is being shared among them, because they are making Cameroonians to think that the budget of a council depend only on the 15% that is being shared among all the 360 something councils all over the national territory. Yes, it is shared among them, but they have other money that they collect as taxes from their various councils that support them to continue their projects which the people voted them to do. So we should be able to distinguish between these two and not give an impression which is fake to the Cameroonian people. Council has their job, regional assembly have their job. The constitution of the republic has distinguished all of what they have to do, and they are not mixed up, same in other countries. So this should be there, and our people should not be misled. To look at our fellow Cameroonian people that this regional assembly, which is just about 2 years old, is growing, and we should support them and encourage them so that we can work together. We have the right to revendication. That is democracy. If we feel that the regional assembly have not done what we expect to do, we should revendication. That is the democratic President put in place in this country. If I feel from Ewane, I feel that Tibibuna, the former city council mayor, is now the and I'm not comfortable with what he's doing. I have the right to revindicate. If I'm from the Northwest and Mr. Fru, which we all know him, we know the family where he come from, and now he's the president of the regional assembly. If he's not performing, people in Baminda have the right to revindicate. That is democracy. So I'm calling all the Cameroonian people.
Which law, sir?
Pardon?
Revendicating under which law?
Revendicating here simply means demanding an elected official what you want to be done because you voted him to do that. The revendication I'm talking about is not the MRC revendication.
It does not move.
To be moving into the street.
How do you go to ask them?
That is not the revendication of MRC that people need to go to the street.
Did you appoint them? They are going to ask them?
No.
You are giving wrong doctrine here on
the people
air.
have the right to ask their elected official what they want. That is democracy.
Mr. Leo, greetings to you, people in the studio, especially to the kangaroo man. Swiru Kingsley is writing from Kumbo. Greetings to you guys in the studio. Wow, much respect to Senior Barrister and the kangaroo man. Such an interesting topic. This is Sabang Luis from Yaoundé, also Young Money. Good evening, Mr. Leo. My name is Mateko, taxi man in Limbe. Good, me, the kangaroo man. It's been a long time on the platform. Okay, please, panelists, the microphone of Barrister is not very audible. That was fixed already, Barrister. It was fixed. Shuni Ernest is writing there. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Let your panelists not use Nigeria to compare to Cameroon. The system in Cameroon does not resemble that of Nigeria. Okay. Quine Jacob writing from Kumbu. Many people in Cameroon are politically not mature, never see things the way things are supposed to be done. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm surprised to hear people saying that the function of regional assembly to that of the decentralization system government practice as okay. Comparing it to what is happening in Nigeria. Good evening, Mr. Liu and panelists, and more especially to the kangaroo man. I believe henceforth he will be more regular this time than before. Ambiance watching from Mr. J. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panelists. My humble opinion on this topic is that the regional council or assembly are of no use to the local people, or they do talk and be paid with taxpayers' money. How do we get them more effective, Senior Barrister?
Well, Mr. Leo, you want to know how you can get people more effective. What have you given them? My good friend here from the CPDM wants to give people the impression that come what may, the assemblies have some money. Let us take a very simple illustration. How much is the national budget of Cameroon? Let us take an approximate figure of 5,000 billion. If you divide that, if you define 15% of that, it gives you 750 billion. Divide that by 10 to know what each region will get. You have 75 billion. Now, inside every region, you have the councils. That 75 billion will be divided among all the councils, all the city council, city mayors, and then the regional assembly. So, Vuri, that has 5 councils, 5 subdivisions, you have to divide out by 5 first. You remove the one of each council, then you remove the one of the city council of Douala, the one of Konsama, the one of Idea. Then you now look
Konsamba has Konsamba 1, 2, 3. Idea has 1, 2, 3.
It's more complex again.
Even in the Konsamba, you also have other.
Oh, thank you. Go there, remove.
But Senior Barrister, tell them they collect tax. They don't function only with that money. That's my point. They don't function only with that 15%. They have other money that they collect tax from. Tell Cameroonians so.
When you were talking, I didn't disturb you.
Just take down notes.
Now, I am saying that we take that figure of 5,000 billion, we count down 15% of it, it gives us 750 billion. Then we divide that by 10 for each region, it gives us 75 billion. Now, that 75 billion has to be divided up to shared to all the councils in the region, all the city councils in the region, and then the regional assembly. Sir, how much is everybody going to get? How much is each person going to get? How much do you think the regional assembly will get that it will now say, okay, we can build a bridge across the Cross River? The money is so small, sir. So, Mr. Kedia is trying to say that councils have other sources of income.
Good.
All right, let me commend our councils, because there is a big distinction between what prevails in Limbe, Boya, and what prevails in Douala. The councils in Limbe own hotels. The Limbe council owns hotels. They build hotels that enable them get money. Here, you don't have it. That way you have council schools. You don't have that here. I mean, our councils there, they are entrepreneurial. They go out and venture into the field, engage in activities that provide revenue. But this way, you don't see that. All you have is government school. Government school is not council school. There's a big difference. A council school, there is one in Mabanda that they try to open. At Mabanda.
But the councils in Douala are very rich.
They are rich with the money given by the state, sir.
There are so many economic activities.
There is money. No, sir, look. I'm at least specialized in that one. There is money from the markets. How much is it? Please, how much comes from the markets? I want to remind you that I have been counsel for Mr. Ndangle Kumasi for the Bonaberi Council, where they say he embezzled money. We look into all those things. How much comes out of the markets?
And how much is used?
How much because they are supposed to
cite
use
them. It's not only from the market. There are many sources. Cite them.
Wonderful.
If you don't know when I will come to my time, I'll sign them.
Okay, be writing them, jotting them down when your time comes. I said there is market. Now there is also this motorbike tax.
Yeah. Park fee or something.
Motorbike tax.
Yep.
Nobody has fixed an amount. They themselves, they are imposing something on the bike riders, 500 francs a week. I don't know where they got that from, but they are collecting that money. Which other visible source do they have that can give the big monies?
But there are building permits and shops.
Building permit is only for the city council, sir. It is not
shops.
building permit is available only for city council.
Yeah, but the city council, city council makes money from it now.
Yeah, but city council, what about the small councils? They don't have that possibility. So we are saying that all in all, the money given to these people to function is so insufficient that we should not expect a local bricklayer to build a skyscraper with that money. We shouldn't. You want them to function well, sir, as I was saying. Let us have a clean system where you don't have functions being duplicated, because the governor has a budget. Contrary to what my CPDM man was saying here, the Bonaberi Council was constructed under because the governor supervises the national investment budget. If you don't know, sir.
Yes, supervisor accept. Tell me any contract he signs.
He signs them. He signs them.
No.
Okay, let me tell you.
No, don't mislead.
Okay, let me tell you.
I don't know any road, any building contract that the governor signed with any constructing company.
Mr. Kedia, the construction of the Bonaberi Council was given to a businessman who built the foundation and abandoned it. I actually was called by the mayor, Tanko Amadu, because he was embarrassed. For years he was standing there. I had to go to court with that businessman and ask the court to appoint an expert to give evaluation of how much he has spent. And then the governor now gave the contract to a different businessman. The governor gave, not the mayor. Governor gave for that council to be built. So stop telling people that governor does not sign contract.
So the governor signed the contract.
I'll
see the signature of the governor.
I am telling you that
approving and signing the contract are two things different.
I am telling you that the governor
approving. The governor approved project, yes, but signing of contract.
Can you just stand? How do we get? How do we? We are talking here about regional councils.
We have to give the regional councils enough money to carry out the projects that are before them. We should not expect them to function with
because
pebbles.
We are even talking about municipal councils that go out to collect these taxes. We're talking about regional councils.
Okay, what extra revenues do the regional councils have? If you say, okay, the municipal councils, they go down to collect taxes from bike riders. What extra revenue does the regional council have? They don't have anything. They only rely on what the state sends to them. And I say that one is insignificant. And then there is also this problem. Look, we should face facts. Monies, royalties paid by certain companies are not paid to the councils. Look, Sonara, where the Sonara royalties, where are Sonara royalties paid? They are paid to Douala, not to Limbe. So, I mean, you are paralyzing the people down there, penalizing them. So, CPTM people, find a solution to that. Then the royalties be paid to the competent council. That will help them to have enough money to develop the area.
Okay.
Maybe I was just coming in before then, I was getting the issue of governors. Do they sign? Do they appoint an order? For issues of contracts, I know KGR still has to learn more about that. We have what they call, when contracts come in, you have contract from the national level, contract from the regional level, contract from the subdivisional levels and other like. And when they come, you have what they call vote holders, who have a role to play. Now, what KGR seems not to understand is that there are contracts that are at the level of the governor's office. KGR does not know. I have worked with public contracts, Minipat and Minimat for a long time. No, I'm telling you what is there.
Even the Lamboda is there. I work with him there in Bonaberi.
Then you should not argue
so
what
don't think that I don't know.
You is that
don't think you know everything and nobody knows.
I am educating you on what you were arguing, that there are contracts that are at the central administration from Yaoundé. When they come in, those who supervise and everything comes from the central administration. There are contracts that have been devolved at the level of the region, where the governors have an overall say. Overall say means that even at the level of tender, the governor has, first of all, he is the one who supervises it. Supervising it means that, listen, you're talking about signature. Where a man who supervises a contract has a say on it, even that you has a signature. That is why there are some contracts under councils. The vote holder
sign signature. That's what I want to learn.
Excuse me.
You say you want to educate
me.
The governor sign contract.
There are contracts that governor sign. Contracts banned by the governor. If you take, for example, let me educate you. If you go to the roundabout police station, that road going up, that is a contract under the governor of the southwest region. That stretch of road. That was to solve the winding on all the line. You cannot tell me that contract is under the governor and he will not sign. That is under his jurisdiction. What is he controlling? So what I'm telling you is that there are contracts that come under the governor, so that there are contracts that are directly under the SDO, depending on which one. For example, if you want to build the house of the SDO, who is the vote holder? The SDO. He signs that contract.
If you want,
he supervises it.
You want a chunk of state land.
A chunk of state land. The SDO has. So there are things that in contract. I think Kenya has to learn most of it because I am just
state land is something else. The governor give the state land. I am talking about signing.
I'm talking about
yes. They give the state land. That's something else.
That's why
I'm talking about contract.
Which
has to do with budget. Giving state land is something else.
Projects that are within
giving state land is something else.
Please, can we talk about the regional councils? We are looking for ways to get them more and more effective, efficient, so that the people know them. Should they also up their communication game? Because granted, the budgets are actually small for these past 2 years. I'm sure their budgets were in the neighborhood of 3 billion for regions. Yes, but let's granted that they cannot do enough. What stops them from going down to Ekondo Titi or going down to, say, Kambe, say, we are your regional assembly representatives. We want to tell you that this is what we are doing. You should expect this from us. You should not expect more than this from us, because this is the resources, because we are struggling to back them up. Should they not do this? Should they not, the guys of the littoral, because I don't know them. Yeah. As a journalist, I can imagine the guys of the camp division, whether they actually know them. What stops them from going down there and saying that we are mandated to do this and that this is...
Yeah, what you are saying is a good... the question rather, what stops them, is a very good question, Mr. Leo. But what we should understand is that it is a general cankerworm in the entire system. What the entire system has failed. Yaoundé, you failed on arrival. One, they don't value communication. Take, for instance, during the period of COVID-19, my media prime here was spending day in, day out on educating people on COVID-19. But I said earlier that if we had a system that is not kangaroo inclined, there would have been a communication strategy put in place by communication experts. Do this in Fufude, use this strategy, use this, use pidgin, use this and get to the people. Most of the media organs put up the communication strategy on their own. And yet, vampires were on the field embezzling the money for COVID-19. They know what I'm talking about. In the same case here, I will tell you first, the manner, how are those who manned the National Assembly appointed? Mr. Leo, the manner in which you climb office determines how you function.
Elected, sir.
You get the point. Now, what am I saying so? If you look at it critically, I spoke to some of them. Some of them I don't want to call because they're watching. I don't want to like downplay on them. And I asked, what do you really do? They brought a catalog of things that they intend to do. And there is, let me tell you, Mr. Leo, you'll be shocked. Southwest Regional Assembly does not have a communication officer.
No, we can't. I'm sure there is somebody there.
Excuse me, Mr. Leo.
Yeah.
I am talking here, they are watching me.
No, there is a guy.
When I say they don't have, they will have people who take charge of culture, this and that. When it comes to, I have been there, Mr. Leo. Far Elvis Tayo has been in the office. When they're doing the regional piece something, I went there to find out, but who is the communicator? And they told me that no. When there are particular places that come up, the commissioners themselves mandate people in their commission to do the communication for that particular purpose. They are watching what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but what
I'm saying is
all of their ceremonies, they have called people there.
Mr. Leo, I'm talking about what I'm saying. Okay. It's not the communication officers who call.
Ah, I see.
They were calling that for that purpose. But after that purpose, what do you know that they're doing? We don't know. But I'm saying that most of the structures have failed to incorporate the services of communicators.
Okay.
Because a communicator will not wait for an event to come before you start blowing drama. A communicator means that you have airspace, for example, by media prime, consecrated only to activities of regional assembly, just like what they have inside the presidency. If the presidency is not foolish to take a particular program at the national station only to be talking about projects realized by the head of state. So what does it stop? You'll be surprised that even most of our councils don't have communication officers. You just need to take a cousin from somewhere who did international relations and put him here as the communication officer. You take a cousin, you take a brother's, sister's, uncle's child from somewhere and put here. So if regional assemblies are a means of compensating political accolades, it's the same like they don't see any reason why they should do that. I am saying this, South Regional Assembly knows what I'm talking about. When there's an event, that's when they call media. But ask yourself, I could investigate to know what they do further. But how many media persons in the South Region will know that this is what they do? I've started knowing projects that I know that they do because I try to go deeper. Probably closer to the regional assembly president, closer to some of the persons who work there and all that. But the question is, what if somebody is not a media person who decides to move closer to them? It means you'll be in the dark. So at the end of it, what they need to do is a kangaroo all around. I am telling you,
the local population should know what they are doing, what they should expect.
What they should expect.
They should tell them what resources are available.
So what they should do is that I have gone some time to propose to them that you have to. There are media organs, you take airtime. Sometimes, like you have your program here, they book, okay, want to be, can you permit to be guests? I don't think you will refuse. And they come and tell this is what we have done, this is what we have done. The bad thing in it, I keep saying, is that most of these councils still undermine the role of a communicator. And why do they do so? Because to them, whether we communicate or not, the budget is there. Whether we communicate or not, nothing stops us from functioning. But that is what defeats the purpose of the kangaroo digitalization they're talking about. Because in a federal system, you know that everything works in the democratic system and by popular election. The moment the people are not educated on what you are doing in your area, there's trouble. Because they will start saying that you have not done anything when you might have done something, but you stay quiet. So at the end of it, the question is, what are a handful of those who graduate from communication schools day in, day out doing? They will not recruit them. But go and see those who work in those offices. Ask them, how did they get there? First, the recruitment are done hidden, Mr. Leo. Regional councils, their recruitments are done in a hidden manner. You all get there one morning and come, you see someone in the office and it tells you that I am the chief of this. One morning you ask the chief of that. How do you work in a kangaroo state whereby appointments are done, what we call corner? Sometimes this my brother here, Kenya knows when those things are done. Because they will put them in their civilian forum, please, we need 5%, send us. And since it is done by compensating political friends, meritocracy disappears. Okay. That's the shame we find ourselves with the regional councils. 10 regional councils, people cannot boast of what they do. Even media persons cannot even explain what they do. It is a total disgrace.
Yeah, but
total.
Do you also understand that there is a problem with communication? Because if we are trying to explain to Cameroonians what changed it,
Mr. Kum Leanard, when there's time to say the truth, we say the truth. When we talk about the impact of communication, like for instance, I know when I will say this, I'm from the Northwest, people of the Northwest, they will say Kedia Robert, because one time they attacked me on this, but I need to say this. In the Southwest region, you can know the projects they have carried on. The various divisions everywhere, you can know how to get information. You can see them. But in the Northwest, sorry, the communication is not there. At my level, which I believe I was supposed to know much more, but it's not there. It's not there.
So you're confirming what fast.
Honestly, with this, even to get the information, I am saying the truth. When it happens like that, if I don't know that, I will say, okay, let me take a car, move to the Department of Communication to know the various projects that are there, projects that have been executed. At least in the Southwest, they even call a radio station, newspaper, they come, they execute how they have done it. This is the total, like the last, 2022, the Southwest will say we had about 65 projects, we executed 52. These are the ones that, these two were not executed because of failure from contractors. This was not executed because of the crisis. It is there, clear. But other regions, you can't have it. So this we must say. And I cannot come here, I say things I know, I don't come here to defend a regional assembly because their communication is supposed to speak for themselves, that the people should know what they have done. If, for instance, you look at another, let me just give this example. You look at the Disarmament Commission. When there is boys that have dropped up arms, the information is already there. TV stations, social media, it flows. They know what that commission has done. But with the assemblies, we don't have. So if somebody comes saying that, Robert, what have this commission or what have the regional assembly of the Northwest done, what should I say? The people don't get the information. Is it a communicator of the CPDM that is supposed to come and communicate for them? They of those the assembly should have a department of communication, that if we are making such a program, a communicator should come from the regional assembly of the Northwest or the Southwest. And why am I paying attention about this regional assembly? President Paul Biya gave special status for the Northwest and the Southwest region. And when this regional assembly, they don't do their job, they don't come out with facts to make the people know that what they have done, they will cause people to say the president of the republic, which is my champion, which is my idol, which is somebody that his vision, when I look at his vision, I just know he has been blessed by God to save Cameroon. And now he has given a special status for the Northwest and the Southwest, and they don't communicate, they don't show us what they are doing, and very soon they will blame my champion, President Paul Biya, that have been there, that have sacrificed more than 40 years of his life saving the Cameroonian people. So I am calling on this regional assembly, especially those of the Northwest and the Southwest, because they have special status, because they are regional assembly and not regional councils like the other 8 regions. They are there for a purpose. What they do, the people are supposed to be aware of, so that they will know the good job that the president of the republic, President Paul Biya, the father of the nation, is actually doing to the Cameroonian people. So those assembly should be able to give an account in public that we have done this number of projects, this is the number that have been executed, so that the Cameroonian people will see it. It is not like a commission that they will say reconstruction because of the war, we don't want to say it because the boys will come and destroy it. No, we should tell the Cameroonian people, because when you people don't do your job, they turn and they blame my champion, President Paul Biya, which I totally disagree with you, and I will not concur with them. Okay. Thank you very much.
To say that I have personally made moves to get some of our guys to come and talk and explain, actually say what we are saying, because what we are doing here is trying to defend what others are supposed to be doing. There are persons who are receiving salaries as communicators, either for councils or for other structures. Their role is to inform. When you do, tell the people that this is what you should expect. For example, MPs.
But you know what they are saying is true. Yeah. The only problem we have here is that even when they put you as a communicator, you need to get clearance. It makes it more complex. For example, you work in an office where you tell your boss, all right, I want to go to media, talk about this. The question is that necessary? So at the end of it, Mr. Leo, in fact, Yaoundé is confused. All the institutions, all those things they put there are totally confused, because they will not give you that. They will not give you that leeway to work your part as a communicator. And that's why some of us cannot work this kind of places, because you want to carry out the communication as expected. It will be clearance. The central committee has to give you a clearance, since everything is CPDM oriented. And before you know it, that's the kind of system they want us to live in a state of oblivion, so that at night they can come overnight and start telling us how they have done what the Apollo left undone.
Okay.
It is a call for consent.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. The program is a good one. Please tell FA that the governors, SDOs, and DOs do not have anything to do with the contracts from the awarding phase to the receiving phase. Mr. Elangwe Robert Ngwe is watching from Yaoundé. Yes, but I'm sure there are different structures. There is a public works
there are structures.
The respective regional delegations are there. The governor is in the region to represent and
what they call vote holders.
Yeah,
as I said, if you are constructing governor's office, the governor, once you are the vote holder, you have a say, just like he
has to ensure that.
I don't say sign there.
But that's what
he has to ensure that
they don't sign contracts.
The respective they have to make sure that the respective instances, delegations responsible for the implementation of this project
of the contract,
are executed. Yes. Now you say the hands of these guys are tied from your previous delivery. How do we untie these hands?
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Let me start by chipping in something on the communication. Because you see, it is absolutely necessary and very important that what the councils and the regional councils are doing should be made public. Now, let us take the example of the national budget. You see, the law organizing the councils is called the law on decentralization. So, how is the national budget made? All the delegations of the various ministries, everybody, what are your needs? You gather them. We will need to, education will say, this primary school needs this one, a roof here, this or that. They gather all those projects and put in the budget of that ministry, send up to the ministry, and they send it to the assembly. Now, the councils come up with their own projects. The regional assemblies come up with their projects. There is a risk of duplication. If a primary school has lost its roof, and that roof has been budgeted in the Ministry of Education, and the council is not aware that that budget has been made, there is a risk that the council can come and carry out that project, and the money given by the ministry for the project disappears.
But there's a publication of the project book.
Is that handed over to the councils?
No, it's made public to everybody. Everybody sees it now.
The publication of the project by the government.
Yes,
The
every
council
year.
cannot carry out the project in a school that the minister is not aware.
Please. If I had known this, I would have carried the projects for last year, all of them.
Please,
Yeah.
you have
The logbook, yeah.
now, excuse me. You have these emergency projects, right?
Yeah.
There is. Thank you.
They can never be there.
They can never be in the
No,
logbook.
one day.
Now there is a tornado that removes the roof of the
Yes.
school. It is not in the budget, but there are emergency funds that are there to take care of those situations.
Yeah.
If the council also reacts, or the regional council reacts, there is the likelihood of some monies disappearing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It is important
Yeah.
for the regional councils and the councils themselves and the city mayors to make public their activities, so that the citizens can be able to control and say, well, this project is not being covered by this other ministry or department, because you see, these councils continue to exercise some of the functions that are
Okay.
Let
me just answer this one. Says, good evening, Mr. Leo. Interesting topic with the presence of my man, Mr. Faevis. Mr. Leo, I myself, I know. You say, I know the functions of the regional council assemblies as and Sangon Franklin writing from Boya. You say you don't know the criteria I use to read messages. The messages are so many. But Sangon Franklin, you are not fair, because on Friday you requesting for the number of neighbor Paul, which I sent to you. So you are not fair because I did not read your message. You say you don't know what criteria. If 500 persons write in my shoes, you will not read all of them.
Yes, you see, as I was saying, it is very important that whatever these people do should be made public, so that for transparency, we all know that this project was funded by this person and not by this other one, because the law on decentralization does not stop the various government departments from continuing to carry out the projects for which they have budgeted monies. They continue to work, and as they are working, the councils too that also have a broad
but should they not just make these things public for accountability's sake? They are the regional assembly. Should they not render accounts?
This is the reason why we are saying that the importance of a communications unit in these assemblies should not be cannot be emphasized, because be it the mayor or the city mayor or the ordinary mayor in the town or the regional council, their activities should be made public, because in the final analysis, these are people who are elected.
Yeah.
And the voters should know what they have been able to do.
Very important.
You see, so if there is no communication department, how are the voters going to be informed of the activities that these people who have been working for 4 years have done? So that is the reason why I say that it is important that that issue of communication be put on the table. And this, you see, no law imposed on the councils what offices to create. They are the ones who themselves sat down and say, okay, we shall have an office for this one. Let them also put among those offices something on communication.
Very important.
And because the public needs to be informed about their activities. Now, what should be done to enable them to have a better place in the sun? The other officers of state who are acting as an umbrella to their activities should be taken off the stage. I think that because they said decentralization is a gradual process. Okay, sir, Mr. CPDM, in their gradual process, make sure that with time you remove the sous-prefects who are doing the same work as the council, as the mayors, and they supervise the council session. You should tell the people that one. They participate in the council session and they are the ones presiding. So please, we don't need a headmaster from Catholic school to come and supervise exam in Presbyterian school. So they should phase out. They should phase out and leave the mayors to do their work, because the mayors can function perfectly with their councillors. They don't need a government official to come and oversee. Now the SDO, who is the representative of the head of state, who signs government contract, all those powers. Well, when you want to buy state land, I will see who will sign your own. All those powers should be transferred to the elected governors, because that president of a region, I don't know where that is coming from, they are supposed to be elected governors, and they should be given the executive powers, like in Nigeria. You like talking about Nigeria, let us take that from Nigeria, give them executive powers, let them run the place. People should stop going to Yaoundé to go and chase files. Those things can be handled at the regional level. So we are saying that all those other public servants who are duplicating the functions which ought to go to these councillors and mayors and regional presidents should be taken off the stage, and these people are allowed to exercise full authority and control over the people who have elected them.
Okay. How do these guys, because almost everything now boils back to Yaoundé, but when you read the law on decentralization,
yeah.
It also stipulates that these persons are supposed to look for means to create a wealth and run their activities. But the issue of who is the chief of the region, do we give power? Is power not seized? Are there not persons who, if given that position, they would make their impact to be felt?
Please, I know it's not my turn, but let us just look at what happened here with the late mayor of Njombe Penja.
Yeah.
Who saw a query that could give money to the council and wanted to seize as you are talking. What happened to him? You see, we should understand. We should understand the context in which we are.
Are we not also in a situation where people are not ready to take power and impose themselves?
Mr. Leo, the first thing I will tell you categorically is, who are the caliber of persons first, and what are the procedures that they mount the positions where they are? It matters a lot. Now, if you work on godfatherism, you work under party lines, and party ethics are controlling,
and discipline.
Party ethics and disciplines rather are controlling what you were supposed to do on your own, you become powerless. On the other hand, Mr. Liu, you realize that from what we say, you cannot even seize the power as per se, because there are guiding rules and regulations which they have carefully carved out for you to know that that is the line you must follow, even if you are not in line with it. So at the end of it, the regional, as I said, many of them are not very okay. They are watching what I'm saying here. I don't want to talk about, I don't want to call names here. This one is confidential. But they will tell you, what do we do? We are only managing. What do we do? We cannot change it. So you discover that, that's why I keep saying here, the goat has been sold and the rope is withheld. So as they're holding the rope, there's no way you can take the goat and go completely. And so it is, now, look at the regional council. If they tell you that you have a secretary general who is appointed, what does it mean? That is still another representative of the state.
Of course.
So you could be the regional president, you could be the president of the House of Chiefs, but there is somebody who oversees
Your activities.
your activities. And so if that person decides to call the governor, please, the way I'm seeing this, my president, put him under control. They put him under control with immediate effect. And you become powerless. So at the end of it, if you look at all what is transpiring, the main thing we should be able to bear in mind is the fact that all the operations put in place by the regional presidents and their entire system is manned and guided by the rule, by the laws on decentralization. So if you decide now that, okay, you want to, imagine they will tell you that even a regional president cannot really take official visit to visit another regional president if you have not been visited by the governors. You know what it means? Because there is fear. You can be a radical regional president and you might by error transmit your radicalism. Let me not say radical. You can be objective. And you want to transfer objectivity to another regional president, you are called to order by the governor. It's to tell you that you are an errand boy to the governor, though people see you as a regional president as per se, but your powers are limited. It's not their choice. The president of the Southwest, President Lamwe, cannot get up and do otherwise. His hands are tied because he's working under the guidance of the law that is there. So whether he likes it or not, he must always be answerable to Governor Okala Bilal. He has no choice. Same for the man in the Northwest region and Littoral. So that is just the system, and I think that seizing power here is out of place because first, how much do they have?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the law states that the regional president is a boy who is answerable to the governor. The law actually describes him as the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. Yep. That is the law. That's the law, Mr. That's why I say that. That's why I said in their operations. Yeah, but that is the law. The law calls them Chief Executive Officer.
Mr. Law, the law calls you Chief Executive Officer. Yes. Correct. But the question is, as per the way the law describes you, is that how you function?
But that's not the function. So
if you are not functioning as per the law,
yes. That's why I'm saying that that law puts it Chief Executive Officer. But I've cited you a clause where you cannot hold a meeting. You are the Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Lo, let me tell you the paradox of it. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the region.
Yes, but the region operates under the leadership of the president.
Yes, that's
so
what
the governor is the representative of the president.
That's what I'm saying. That at the end of it, whether we like it or not, you still have to be answerable to that governor because you have to give him updates on what you do. If you convene a meeting, Mr. Joe, it's clear. You cannot hold a meeting when the governor is not aware and does not visa. You know what it means about that, Mr. Leo? When I call boy is to interpret to you that law is saying Chief Executive Officer, but in reality, the exercise of your function does not give you a Chief Executive Officer. We are saying because before then, the governor was the Chief Executive Officer, as we were calling it, the representative of the head of state. Now that governor can decide to hold meetings, and the only person who are calling him is the bosses who are above, because he owns the region. Governor can decide today, I am coming to Manu. I am coming to this place. The GO will not tell him, the SD will not tell him, no, please wait, let me see. No. He is the one who you only be answerable to him. But now for the level of the regional council, president, even when it has to do with some particular operations on the ground, like you need to move to this division or the like, you must let the SGOs in those areas away because they have to give you some consent and some clearance on how to move. Visaed by the governor. Because the governor must know, what are you going to do in Manu? If the reason why you want to go and hold a meeting in Manu is not clear as regional, the governor tells you, no, I don't think you are going to Manu. It's okay. You have to stay and wait until he gives you a clearance, or you convince him beyond reasonable doubt that you are going to Manu is for this or that. So at the end of it, that's why you see I move in line with Senior Barrister Ashu. That if you scrap the governors, the agents, and all the like, that's what you can now, as per that description, call them Chief Executive Officers in the region, because then they become now the overall bosses, whereby they have the powers and latitude to do things the way they're supposed to. If not, Mr. Leo, we are saying Chief Executive Officer as that law states. But at the end of it, just imagine you have a wounded governor who's suspicious to you, the regional president at all times. You are in trouble. I mean, the governor who just doubts your operations at all times. It means that you will be moving from your office to governor's office at all the time to explain why you want to carry this particular move, why you want to carry. If not, the governor tells you, I don't see it that way. So it means the governors have the power to frustrate your movement if they decide to, so long as they have what it takes to defend their action that they are suspicious of what you are doing.
Emil writing from Jutin says, good evening, Mr. Leo. Please just tell, please. No, tell. not okay.
No, it not necessarily.
No, they're saying that I should tell you guys to calm down. There's disorder. I'm not sure he's not the first person. So many persons have written. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the entire crew. It's always a pleasure to watch Prime. Daisy is watching us from Kumba. Good evening to you, Daisy. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's nice watching you from Boya. Please let me ask you this question. What are the difference between the local council and the regional council? Okay, the local councils are the municipal councils. The regional council is takes care of the region. It is made up of representative delegates from all the divisions. Now, Kedia, do we really see at some point a conflict of positioning where someone who is supposed to be the chief executive officer finds him or herself bowing to another authority in the region, and that is possibly why they are not heard about, they are not seen, they have to watch what they say and how they say things.
Everybody has his function by the law. The mayor has his function that if the governor comes, it does not go with the law. The mayor has the right to tell the governor that it does not go. We see in other democratic countries, there are laws that president signs, and you see a magistrate will come and oppose. We have seen it. There's division of power. Oh, coming to power, yes, we have seen many.
A mayor that's opposed a governor.
Now,
yes, thank you.
We all know what the law says. Any mayor that has the right to, we've seen this very case even here in Douala concerning schools. The school that was painted with one color of a political party and whatsoever. But what I want to say is that when you have your power, you have to execute your power per the constitution. If you assume that you fear one person and you don't execute it, then you are not responsible if you are forced to resign. We are talking per the law. I don't want to talk per assumption. We should be clear about it. And with this issue of duplication of function, please, there is a law that makes it clear. I will take this example so that our viewers can understand. The prefect of a school, senior prefect, controls the discipline of the school, but he has his limit. The discipline master has his own limit. They will not say because all this one is senior prefect, this one is discipline master, there is a clash. They all have their limit. And even with the presence of the senior discipline, the senior prefect in the various classes, there are class prefect that controls. We will not say because there's a class prefect, there's a clash with the senior prefect or the discipline master. No, I still go to say that mayors have their functions. Regional assembly have their functions by the law, and there is no clash with these two institutions. We have the DOs, the senior divisional officers. They are there to play their supervisory role. If it gets to the level that mayors are not okay, there is an administrative court where any mayor or anyone that feels that there is a breach of law can go to the administrative court. If I'm the mayor, I have my function, what I'm doing, the governor comes and intervene, and I'm not satisfied with it, I go to the administrative court. And that is why those institutions are there. If someone is appointed and the person feels that you will not do your job, assuming do your job. You see, we should not have that mindset that we think that if you are this and another person is appointed and this, you should not do your job, that the next time you may be removed. Those mindset that people are creating, it does not exist. To me, it's actually a farce which we should definitely talk about it. My co-panelists also talk about the appointment of secretary generals at the various institutions. Now, Mr. Kum Leanard, in a region, people are voted. A mayor can be voted. They don't look at the level of education to be a mayor. They don't look at your level of exposure. You are a professor, maybe in economics, you are not exposed. They know that. So these secretaries are being put in place to assist them. And as a mayor, if you are not okay with the secretary general, you have the right to write and ask for him to be replaced. We saw it at the regional assembly. When Kabayege Gibre, the president, Très Haute Kabayege Gibre, was not okay with it, and the secretary was sent away. The man from, I think is from Idea or what. So we should know that if you are not comfortable, you have the right to say no. But they are there because we believe that they have an expert. If, for instance, I have my first school living certificate, I am very popular, but I don't have any economic idea. I don't have anything to do how I can develop project to make my people to be comfortable. But I have that popularity and I don't know anything, and the people vote for me, and I become a mayor with that expatriate. The state provide ones for you, and that one that has been that is being provided is to assist you to execute your project. It's the mayor that sign contracts and not those secretaries. So we should be able to understand what they are doing. We should not think that because they are being appointed or come from this, they have power. Those it does not exist. If you are appointed by a mayor, you do what your people have asked you to do, and not to accept another person, because the next time your people will not vote for you. So we should also make this clear. And I still say it again. The governor has the power to supervise. He does not have economic power. He does not have the social power. He's limited at the political supervision power. And these are the three different perspectives in which we can see power. And to go further, to even talk about this, I still repeat again. The dual governor, they supervise, but they don't sign contract with company, with construction. Landed barrister here talked about passing over of state land to private individual. It's different from a project of construction which you give for a company to execute. So we should be able to distinguish between these two aspects. And I was even curious, Mr. Kum Leanard, to ask when senior barrister said it is only in city councils that they give permit to build. And I asked myself that in a village where there are no city council who give permits, they don't give permits, they don't construct homes there. When we want to defend certain things, we should be open when we are talking to Cameroonian people and not concoct things maybe because we have our agenda. Councils give permit. Where there are no city councils, the other councils, they give permit. But to come and say that it is only the city councils that give permit, it is fake. We were talking on a context, and so you people should not mislead people. And it was said, so we should be very clear when we are educating the Cameroonian people. So to end here, the councils are doing the regional assembly are doing their job. The only thing I can tell them now, because they are 2 years and we consider it to be, is that they should ensure that the Cameroonian people know what they are doing. I turn my attention to the northwest and northwest balance. They have a regional assembly and not council, so they have a lot to do. And when they do this, they should ensure that the communication goes through so that the people know what they are doing. If they fail to do this, then they have disappointed us and funds, because they have a special status, they are assembly and not council. Put them there because he knows the problem of Cameroon. They are depending on them for those problems to be the executives. We are calling on them to communicate with the people so that we know what is going on.
Could I tell you next watch from Korea, please? Missing your program is like missing to take my drugs. More grace to you, Mr. Roland, the culture man. Good evening, Mr. Leo and crew on board. Please, can you people throw more light on the recent presidential decree giving more powers to the regional councils to manage and recruit part-time teachers? Hilary Punti One Shambi, writing from Banja subdivision. I don't know whether it's a presidential decree. I'm sure a law. A bill was tabled at the National Assembly that is going to work. That has to do with the education. But what you're talking has to do by I'm sure it's a ministerial something.
Yes,
because
PTA teachers,
yes, the Minister of Secondary Education recently asked that the principals should no longer recruit. I'm sure it's going to also fall with what we're talking about, decentralization. But we are planning, I'm planning a special edition to clarify on all of that. Within 2 weeks, we are going to be discussing that. Yes, you have something to clarify?
Yes. about 2 people have asked the difference between a council and a regional council.
A local council.
A local council covers the area of a subdivision, and regional council, like, let's take the context of the Anglophone regions. It's made up of 2: the House of Regional Divisional Representatives and the House of Chiefs. So in the Francophone regions, it's just made up of delegates. That's the difference. Delegates from the various regions that converge at the regional level.
Okay, that's it.
Yep. So you see, when they talk of regional councils, we are talking about the people, those delegates who sit at the House of Divisional Representatives and the House of Chiefs.
At the regional level.
At the regional level.
Yeah, but
and then let us say, because I hear my friend Mr. Keja talking here, trumpeting his special status. Well, when he does that, he doesn't tell you that special status does not give the councils of that the councils of that region 1 franc above the other councils. We don't know what is special about it. There is no special amenity added to the special status. That they don't have any economic. Excuse me. They don't have any economic advantage of having any special status. Yeah. They receive the same money as all the other regions. So please take your propaganda elsewhere. That special status doesn't advance us. Our people are having the same amount of money as the other regions.
So it's all about money to you. So you think the special status is about
the councils are there to carry out development, and without money they cannot develop anything. So please,
it's not.
If you are mentioning
when they talk about development, they say they can intervene in the educational system. Like
I want to remind you that with the limitations that my good friend Mr. Fah has spelled out here, it is even a disadvantage to have a special status, because
they are educational system that the regional assembly has the power to communicate with the central government to debunk it. That does not have to do only about money.
Mr. Kedia,
but we have the House of Chiefs now.
The presidents of the Northwest and South regional assemblies are handicapped by the fact that their activities are vetoable by the governors. So that doesn't exist on that side.
No. The law says that the regional assembly have the right to communicate with the central government and not the governor. Don't mislead the Cameroonian people, please.
There's one law.
They have the law to communicate with the central government and not the governor. Please don't mislead our Cameroonian people. If you look at the educational system, if for instance they say today that the GCE board should be controlled by maybe someone for the French system that does not understand how the Anglo-Saxon system functions, the regional assemblies have the right to talk with the central government and not the governors to say that these are things we don't accept. That is a part of the special status that other regions don't have that privilege. So don't make the Cameroonian people to think that it's all about budget and money. There are other things like our culture. We have House of Chiefs that work with our culture that makes it even different from the other regions.
You are speaking for me. Thank you.
Okay. Let's look at.
Since you don't have me talk now, thank you for speaking for me.
Please. Regional councils for the 10 regions, starting from the far north, Adamawa, east, center, littoral. Who do they render account?
Yeah, I'm saying that the fact that we have a House of Chiefs that can do nothing without the approval of the governor, it is an added disadvantage, because the other regional councils don't have that impediment. You see, so what they call special status doesn't actually look like a special status, because it is a special disadvantage. So if you want to tell me that because people have a special status, but with that status they can do nothing without the governor's approval, sir. Now,
why do you say they can do nothing without the governor approval?
I don't like you interrupting me all the time.
Because you are saying what is fake. Sorry.
God.
How can you say nothing?
Kedia, let's see about
Look,
I think Mr. Kum, next time ask him to bring his national president, because he has the impression that he is talking to his equal here. You are not my political equal. You bring your national president so that
you should bring Paul there.
Let him bring his national president.
So you want to
enable him. You will enable him know that.
I will not take any disrespect. How can you convoke the President Paul Biya to sit with you?
I am Secretary General.
How many councils do you have?
Look at you.
How many councils do you have? Councillors. And you want to compare the father of the nation, President Paul Biya. Please don't talk that way of President Paul Biya.
Mr. Kum, you see, look, there are things which ought to be discussed.
Okay.
This whole decentralization setup is a farce. At the council level, financially, the treasurers of the council are appointed by the Ministry of Finance. All the treasurers. Now, the secretary generals are appointed by the Minister of Decentralization. Yeah. So, you have the government controlling the councils.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, they control the councils. And on top of that, they can hold no meeting except the divisional officer is present and he has to preside.
No, the senior divisional officer, not the divisional officer.
Divisional officer.
No, the supervisory authority for councils is the SDO.
Okay, sir. Whether it's SDO or it's DO, it is still territorial administration that is controlling the councils. So now you have two ministries coming in. You have territorial administration and decentralization. The two of them controlling the councils. What are they afraid of? What are they afraid of?
That's the question.
That is the question. They are behaving as if the council belong to some different country. They want to man the activities of the councils from, step by step. It is not correct. That is what hampers the smooth functioning of the councils. Let me remind this gentleman here. Ndamale Kumase was sent to the Special Criminal Court by his Secretary General, who went and drummed up false charges against him. You see how far he can go.
Yeah.
And they are here making noise. Allow these people. Why should a mayor not be able to employ his Secretary General? Why? Why can he not select somebody from among the councillors to make a Secretary General or employ somebody? He is limited. Even in the employment, Mr. Leo.
Yeah.
Even in the employment, yes. The mayor cannot employ directly.
Yes.
You must employ through the government. What
the
nonsense is that? You see, we sit quiet. It's not that everything is moving like you. Look, CPDM, you have outlived your usefulness. And please, as the elections are coming, start packing your back.
You have been saying that for the past 40 years.
You have
been winning.
Don't worry now.
Cameroonian love President Pobia, and 2025 he will still be there.
You so win that so much so that you don't even have a legal paper showing that you're a party.
Okay, thank you very much, the Kangaroo Man. We are grateful for your presence in today's edition of the program.
Yes, thanks very much. You know, it has quite been very interesting to see the defense mechanism which Keja came to defend the regional councils and making them look like they have done what the Apollo Levon done. I'm sure even the presidents are laughing at him because they know the predicaments or the way their hands are tied different from the way Keja is presenting. I'm sure if we had somebody from that council to be here, I'm sure it would have been much more better because we would have been able to get things straight instead of maybe a CPDM member thinking that this regional council belong to CPDM, so he should defend in that direction. But I think away from that, the good thing is that for regional councils to function, or for all the councils that are functioning, just the fact that you have a supervisory authority, and that supervisory authority is a representative of the head of state, tells you that they still have a long way to go if they have to be quite independent as per se. So at a long run, we have Sefam that is there. I don't know, they have a different name they are calling now. Nasla, which is there now. I think they have to make it, if they want to really talk about independence of these structures, go to Nasla, learn your job as Secretary General, Municipal Treasurer, you can. They may have the latitude to employ you, not actually another ministry that's not connected to you, being the one to recruit you. Finance will send you treasurer. That's finance already, yes. Controlling the councils. Then you come now, digitalization now, will do this. Before that, it was territorial that was taking charge of that. So at the end of it, when I say the system is confused, you have a one structure where you have different sub bosses that come into boss. So I think it defeats the purpose. If not, we'll be coming several times as people are saying that have been missing in action to make sure that we always put our modest contribution. But the main thing is that the bitter truth must be spoken to the Yaoundé regime and their acolytes, like my friend Keja, who is here, who knows the reality and will tell you that it's the other way around. So, at the end of it, greetings to Mr. Ashu Tanyi Mengot, who is watching us from the US of A, and a host of others, including Paul Makia Paul, they call him Taximan Paulo from Boya. Until then, God is blessing us all, and hopefully the kangaroo system must change, whether they like it or not.
Good evening, Mr. Liu and other panelists. Help me greet the Kangaroo Man. He has been missing. Gerard is writing from Douala. Thank you for coming. Kidia.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to make this clear. I'm a communicator of the Central Committee of the CPDM. I'm not a communicator of a council. I'm not a communicator of the Regional Assembly. And I came here to analyze things, how they are going, and I've also said their weaknesses, and I'm talking about what they have actually done a good job, and the fact that it is a young institution that we should give them time to do what they have to do. You see, criticizing an institution is different. Criticizing an institution on their weaknesses at times is necessary to make them grow, rather than condemning them, which is something that at times I don't accept with. We talk about the fact that all these institutions are being pointed. If a law now is passed that all those that want to be mayors should go to a school of local administration, NESLA, before they can be mayor, so that they know all these things, many people will still come and oppose. And if they still say the council still is the one to employ them, will still be the one to cry that there is corruption. We think that in all countries in the world, be it decentralized or federal system, that we have ministers in those areas. So we think that in the local government, there is no representative of those ministries in those local governance. So are we saying that in other countries, ministries end only at the level of the central capital, and there is no working together with the local governance? That we think that in Cameroon it is a problem? Then I tell you people, no. We should visit how decentralized system functions and how federal system function and all the other systems, to know how the rule that exists between regional assembly, local assembly, and central government or ministries, how they function. I would like to take this opportunity to give a special greetings to Senator Carl Mbokfu of the Ketunja, which come from Bamisin. Of course, that is doing a very great job with the fund of Bamisin to ensure that this crisis comes to an end. For me to conclude, I will definitely talk about this crisis because I come from Bamisin, and we know what is happening there. So together we are calling on all citizens of Bamisin and all citizens of Ketunja to work together so that this crisis definitely should come to an end. And Mr. Kum Leanard, thank you for the opportunity for inviting a member of the CPDM to come and express our view and how things are supposed to move on in Cameroon.
Thank you too for coming. Thank you, Senior Barrister, for coming this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Kum. Yeah, we are heading towards an election year, and Cameroonians should take note that the system, the local system that CPDM is trying to put in place is not workable. Please go and register massively so that come election day, we are going to vote out this party that has been sleeping on our rights for 40 years. So that, you see,
yes, the last message.
Come to Reform Party. We are going to put in place real local government that will enable you people to develop your areas with government funds. We should not give the opportunity to CPDM to continue staying in power against the people's wish. So please go to the poll to Elekam and register massively. Okay. Let people not be afraid to register, because if you stay at home, CPDM will continue ruling you. Okay. If you don't like their system as we are explaining, please go and register so that election day you vote them out of office.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. The governor and SDOs are all delegated project owners with tenders bought under them. They all award and sign contracts. Cordia and Goila, it says see public contracts code article 12 and 13. We end with that message. There are so many of them. We want to thank the production team, Eli and Desmond, and to you, Tabi Tambe Bryant, for supervision. We thank you all for watching this first edition of the program. For the week tomorrow, again, we are going to be looking at an issue that has to do with relationship and marriage. Take very good care of yourselves. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.